What are the sacraments of adulthood? Sloka 93. The most important sacrament of adulthood is the Vivaha Samskara, or marriage rite, preceded by a pledge of betrothal. A boy's or girl's coming of age is also consecrated through special ceremony in the home. Om. Bhashya. As puberty dawns, the Ritukala home ceremony acknowledges a girl's first menses, and the Kisantakala celebrates a boy's first beard shaving. New clothing and jewelry fit for royalty are presented to and worn by the youth, who is joyously welcomed into the young adult community. Girls receive their first sari, boys their first razor. Chastity is vowed until marriage. The next sacrament is the betrothal ceremony, called Nischitartha or Vagdana, in which a man and woman are declared formally engaged by their parents with the exchange of jewelry and other gifts. Based on this commitment, they and their families begin planning a shared future. In the marriage sacrament, or vivaha, 7 steps before God and gods and tying the wedding pendant consecrate the union of husband and wife. This sacrament is performed before the homa fire in a wedding hall or temple and is occasioned by elaborate celebration. The Griya Sutras pronounce 1 step for strength, 2 steps for vitality, 3 steps for prosperity, 4 steps for happiness, 5 steps for cattle, 6 steps for seasons, 7 steps for friendship. To me be devoted. Om Namah Shivaya. What are the childbearing sacraments? Sloka 94. The essential childbearing samskaras are the Garbhadana rite of conception, the Punsavana 3rd month blessing, the Simantanaya hair parting ceremony, and the Jatakarma welcoming the newborn child. Om. Bhashya, conception, pregnancy's crucial stages, and birth itself are all sanctified through sacred ceremonies performed privately by the husband. In the rite of conception, Garbhadana, physical union is consecrated through prayer, mantra, and invocation with the conscious purpose of bringing a high soul into physical birth. At the first stirring of life in the womb, in the rite called Punsavana, special prayers are intoned for the protection and safe development of child and mother. Between the 4th and 7th months in the Simantanaya, or hair parting sacrament, the husband lovingly combs his wife's hair, whispers sweet words praising her beauty, and offers gifts of jewelry to express his affection and support. Through the Jatakarma Samskara, the father welcomes the newborn child into the world, feeding it a taste of honey and clarified butter and praying for its long life, intelligence, and well-being. The Vedas proclaim that in which the prayers, the songs, and formulas are fixed firm, like spokes in the hub of a cartwheel, in which are interwoven the hearts of all beings. May that spirit be graciously disposed toward me. Om Namah Shivaya. Are there rites for the wisdom years? Sloka 95. Entrance into the elder advisor stage at age 48, the marriage renewal at age 60, and the dawn of renunciation at 72 may be signified by ceremony. Funeral rites, Antyeshti, solemnize the transition called death. Om Namah Shivaya. Bhashya. Hindu society values and protects its senior members, honoring their experience and heeding their wise advice. Age 48 marks the entrance into the Vanaprastha asrama, celebrated in some communities by special ceremony. At age 60, husband and wife reaffirm marriage vows in a sacred ablution ceremony called Shastyabdapurti. Age 72 marks the advent of withdrawal from society, the Sannyasa ashrama, sometimes ritually acknowledged but never confused with Sannyasa Diksha. The Antyeshti, or funeral ceremony, is a home sacrament performed by the family, assisted by a priest. Rites include guiding the individual's transition into the higher planes, preparing the body, cremation, bone gathering, dispersal of ashes, home purification, and commemorative ceremonies. Sraddha, 1 week, 1 month, and 1 year from the day of death, and sometimes longer according to local custom. Through the Antyeshti, the soul is released to the holy feet of Shiva. The Vedas counsel, attain your prime, then welcome old age, striving by turns in the contest of life. May the ordainer, maker of good things, be pleased to grant you length of days. Om Namah Shivaya. Scriptures speak on sacraments. Life universal shall guard and surround you. May Pushan protect and precede you on the way. May Savitri, the god, to that place lead you, where go and dwell the doers of good deeds. Rig Veda. As days follow days in orderly succession, as seasons faithfully succeed one another, so shape the lives of these, O supporter, that the younger may not forsake his elder. Rig Veda. I take thy hand in mine, for happy fortune that thou may reach old age with me, thy husband. This woman, strewing grains, prays thus, may I bring bliss to my relations, may my husband live long, Svaha. Rigveda and Shankayana Griya Sutras. After completing the life of a student, let a man become a householder. After completing the life of a householder, let him become a forest dweller. Let him renounce all things, or he may renounce all things directly from the student state, or from the householder state, as well as from that of the forest dweller. Yajurveda. Having reached the last order of life, one should sit in a solitary place in a relaxed posture, with pure heart, with head, neck, and body straight, controlling all the sense organs, having bowed with devotion to the Master, Atharva Veda. That the father and mother give birth to him from mutual desire, so that he is born from the womb, let this be known as his physical birth, but that birth which is given according to the ordinance, through the Savitri, by the preceptor who has mastered the Vedas, that is the true birth, the unaging and immortal. Manudharma Shastras. With holy rites prescribed by the Veda must the ceremony on conception and other sacraments be performed for twice-born men, which sanctify the body and purify in this life and after death. Manudharma Shastras. Let the father perform or cause to be performed the Namadhyaya, the rite of naming the child, on the 10th or 12th day after birth, or on a lucky lunar day, in a lucky muhurta under an auspicious constellation. Manudharma Shastras. The names of women should be easy to pronounce, not imply anything dreadful, possess a painful meaning, be pleasing and auspicious, end in long vowels, and contain a word of benediction. Manudharma Shastras. Having studied the Vedas in accordance with the rule, having begat sons according to sacred law, and having offered sacrifices according to his ability, he may direct his mind to final liberation. Manudharma Shastras. The boy grows to youth, and youth as surely to old age decays. But time's changes teach them not that nothing abides. He pervades this earth and the space beyond. I long for his feet, and desire there to remain. Tirumantiram. When the son is 1 year old, the Chudakarana, the tonsure on his head, should be performed, or before the lapse of the 3rd year, when he is 16 years old, the Kesanta, the shaving of his beard, is to be done, or according as it is considered auspicious by all. Paraskara Griya Sutras. Knowingly or even unknowingly, intentionally or even unintentionally, a mortal having gone to death in the Ganga obtains heaven and moksha. Padma Purana. Utsava Mandala, festivals. Ganta is the bell used in ritual puja, which engages all senses, including hearing. Its ringing summons the gods, stimulates the inner ear, and reminds us that, like sound, the world may be perceived but not possessed. Om. What are the festival days of Shaivism? Sloka 96. Festivals are special times of communion with God and gods, of family and community sharing, and sadhana. Shaivites observe numerous festivals in the temple and the home, and special holy days each week and month. Om. Bhashya. Monday is the Hindu holy day in the north of India and Friday in the south, set aside each week for attending the temple, cleaning and decorating the home shrine, devout prayer, japa, and scriptural study. These are not days of rest, for we carry on our usual work. Among the major deity festivals are Mahashivaratri, Vaikashi, Vishakam, Ganesha Chaturthi, Skanda Shasti, Kritika Dipa, Vinayaka Vratam, Ardha Vrasthana, Ardha Darshana, and Thaipusham. Temples also hold a 10-day annual festival called Brahmotsava, often on the Uttara Falguni Nakshatra in March through April, as well as honor the anniversary day of their founding. Festivals are auspicious and sacred days of family and community togetherness, and of sadhana, fasting, meditation, worship, and retreat from worldly concerns. Shaivites offer special prayers to Shiva, Ganesha, and Kartikeya on propitious days each month according to the Hindu sacred calendar. The Vedas proclaim, "Behold now a man who unwinds and sets the thread, a man who unwinds it right up to the vault of heaven. Here are the pegs. They are fastened to the place of worship. The Samaveda hymns are used for weaving shuttles. Om Namah Shivaya." What are the primary festivals to Shiva? Sloka 97. Mahashivaratri, Shiva's great night, venerates Parashiva. Kritika Dipa celebrates the infinite light of Parashakti. Ardra Darshana invokes the blessings of Parameshvara. Lord Shiva Nataraja in his blissful cosmic dance. Om. Bhashya. Mahashivaratri is the night before the new moon day in February through March. We observe it both as a discipline and a festivity, keeping a strict fast and all-night vigil, meditating, intoning Shiva's 1008 names, singing his praise, chanting Sri Rudram, bathing the Shiva Linga, and being near the Vairagis as they strive to realize Parashiva. On Kritika Dipa, the Kritika Nakshatra in November through December we honor, with oil lamps everywhere, village bonfires, and special temple arati, God Shiva as an infinite pillar of light. This is an important festival in Murugan temples. On Ardra Darshana during the Ardra Nakshatra of December through January, Lord Nataraja receives elaborate abhisheka and is beseeched for yogic union, prosperity, and matrimonial success. He is again lavishly invoked on the Uttara Falguni Nakshatra in June through July, and on 4 other days each year. Special monthly days for Shiva worship are the 2 13th Tithis called Pradosha. The Vedas proclaim, "The Lord God, all-proclaiming and omnipresent, dwells in the heart of all beings, full of grace. He ultimately gives liberation to all creatures by turning their faces toward himself. Om Namah Shivaya." What are the major Ganesha festivals? Sloka 98. Ganesha Chaturthi is a joyous celebration of Ganesha's birthday. Vinayaka Vratam is 21 days of fasting and daily temple worship. Panchaganapati is a 5-day family festival of harmony and gift-giving. Om. Bhashya. On Ganesha Chaturthi, in August through September, elaborate temple pujas are held. Worship is also given in the home shrine to a clay image of Ganesha that we make or obtain. At the end of the day, or after 10 days, we join others in a grand parade called Visarjana to a temple, temple tank, lake, or seashore, where we immerse the image, symbolizing Ganesha's release into universal consciousness. During the 21 days of Vinayaka Vratam in November through December, devotees vow to attend daily Ganesha Puja, fasting on water, and taking a full meal after sunset. Panchaganapati, December 21st to 25th, is a modern 5-day festival of gift-giving dear to children. Families invoke his 5 Shaktis, one on each day, creating harmony in the home, concord among relatives, neighbors, and friends, good business and public relations, cultural upliftment, and heartfelt charity. Ganesha's monthly holy day is Chaturthi, the 4th Tithi after the new moon. The Vedas implore, O Lord of categories, thou art the Lord, the seer of seers, unrivaled in wealth, king of elders, lord of the principle of principles, hear us and take thy place, bringing with thee all enjoyments. Om Namah Shivaya. What are the main Kartikeya festivals? Sloka 99. Vaikasi Visakam celebrates the anniversary of Lord Kartikeya's creation. Skanda Shasti is a 6-day festival honoring his conquest of light over darkness. Thai-Pusham is a time of sadhana and public penance. Om. On Vaikashi Vishakam Day, Lord Kartikeya's birth star, Vishaka Nakshatra, in May through June, elaborate Abhisheka is conducted in all his temples. It is a time of gift-giving to panditas and great souls, weddings, feedings for the poor, caring for trees, spiritual initiation, diksha, and conclaves of holy men. Skanda Shasti is celebrated on the 6 days after the new moon in October through November, with festive processions and pujas invoking his protection and grace. It honors Kartikeya's receiving the vel, his lance of spiritual illumination, Janana Shakti, and culminates in a dramatic victory celebration of spiritual light over Ashuric darkness. Thai-Pusham occurs on Pushya Nakshatra in January through February. During this festival, we fast and perform public penance called Kavadi, seeking Kartikeya's blessings to dispel our selfishness, pride, and vanity. His special monthly days are Kritika Nakshatra and Shasti, the 6th Tithi after the new moon. The Vedas say, like the cry of watchful birds swimming in water, like the loud claps of thundering rain clouds, like the joyful streams gushing from the mountain, so have our hymns sounded forth to the Lord. Om Namah Shivaya. What are other important festivals? Sloka 100. Besides the temple festivals, there is a multitude of home, community, and national celebrations, notably Deepavali, Hindu New Year, Thai Pongal, Guru Puja Days, Kumbh Melas, Jayanti, and Guru Purnima. Om Namah Shivaya. Deepavali, the festival of lights in October through November, is a most popular festival esteemed as a day of Hindu solidarity when all sects gather in love and trust. It begins the financial year and is celebrated by opening new accounts, giving greeting cards, clothing, and other gifts, and by lighting rows of oil lamps. Family bonds are strengthened and forgiveness is sought. The several Hindu New Years are important observations. Thai Pongal in January through February is a harvest thanksgiving and invocation for prosperity. God Surya, the sun, is honored and daughters are presented with gifts. We venerate saints and sages by conducting Guru Puja on the anniversary of their passing, or Mahasamadhi. We celebrate our Satguru's birthday, or Jayanti, with special puja to his Sri Paduka sandals, our holy feet. We honor him again on Guru Purnima, the full moon of July. Kumbh Melas, humanity's largest gatherings, are held at 4 pilgrimage centers in India every 3 years. The Vedas proclaim, "Thus have we now approached the All-Knower, the one who is the best procurer of good things. Endow us, O Majesty, with strength and glory." Om Namah Shivaya. Scriptures speak on festivals. Supported by whose protection heaven and earth, shining brightly and inspired in their spirit, manifest this glory, with whose effulgence does the risen sun shine forth. To whom else besides that giver of happiness can we offer all our devotion? Rig Veda. Let us now invoke for our aid the Lord of speech, the designer of all things that are, the inspirer of wisdom. May he, the ever kindly, be well disposed to our summons, and may he whose work is goodness grant us his blessing. Rig Veda. The gift of wealth and victory in deeds, sweetest of garlands, honor and fame, too, love and esteem are his bounties. So even devas adore the elephant-faced one, in devotion sweet, with cooped hands. Tirumurai. Wherever I hear the sound of drums, the music of hymns, the Vedas chanted, there my heart remembers God our Master, the Lord who dwells in Itai Marutu. Tirumurai. The Lord of Chittikaram shrine in Narayur, who has the river in his hair, the poison stain on his throat, and the Veda on his tongue, goes resplendent in ceremonial dress, as his devotees and perfected sages sing and dance his widespread fame, and the sound of festival drums beaten on the streets, where the temple car is pulled, spreads on every side. Tirumurai. Pumpavai, O beautiful girl, Would you go without having seen on the streets of great Miyalai, always busy with festive crowds, the festival of Uttara Falguni with its great sound of celebration, at which beautiful women sing and distribute alms at the Lord's Kapalikaram shrine, center of many festivals, Tirumurai? You look for your shrine in good temple at Itai Marutu, where, for the blessing of the world, scholars praise you with the Vedic chant, and great seers and gods gather to bathe on the day of the Pusham festival in the month of Tai, Tirumurai. Folk from far and near, good men and rogues, and those who pray every day for an end to disease, our Lord of Arur is kinsman to all those who cry, O my jewel, golden one, dear husband, my son, such is the splendor of Ardra Day in Arur town, Tirumurai. As the blare of the moon-white conch, the parai drums beat, and the jingle of the cymbals of dancing devotees spread everywhere. Peacocks, thinking that the rains have come, dance in delight. Such is the splendor of Ardra Day in Arur town, Tirumurai. Hail Shankara, dispenser of bliss. Hail the oldest in Shiva Loka. Hail our youngest youth appearing to extricate us from affliction. Hail, matchless one. Hail the Lord of Devas. Hail, Tirumurai. By drinking the water after washing the holy feet of the Guru and sprinkling the remains on the head, man attains the fruit of bathing in all the sacred waters of all sacred rivers and of all pilgrimages. Guru Gita. I'll wreathe him in garland, I'll hug him to heart, I'll sing him his name and dance with gifts of flowers, singing and dancing, seek the Lord, this alone I know, Tirumantiram. Why think and suffer further for the insubstantial body that is transient as a dewdrop on a blade of grass, while on this earth extol with love the holy feet of him who has 6 faces, Nachintanai. Upashana Upanishad, sacred worship. Shivalaya Mandala, Shiva temples. Gopuras are the towering stone gateways through which pilgrims enter the South Indian temple, richly ornamented with myriad sculptures of the divine pantheon. Their tiers symbolize the several planes of existence. Om. What is the nature of the Shiva temple? Sloka 101. The Shiva temple is the abode of God Shiva and gods and the precinct in which the 3 worlds consciously commune. It is specially sanctified, possessing a ray of spiritual energy connecting it to the celestial worlds. Om. Bhashya, the 3 pillars of Shaivism are the temples, the scriptures, and the Satgurus. These we revere, for they sustain and preserve the ancient wisdom. Shiva temples, whether they be small village sanctuaries or towering citadels, are esteemed as God's home and consecrated abode. In the Shiva temple we draw close to God Shiva and find a refuge from the world. His grace, permeating everywhere, is most easily known within the precincts of the Shiva temple. It is the purified milieu of the temple that the 3 worlds commune most perfectly, that devotees can establish harmony with inner plane spiritual beings. When the spiritual energy Shakti invoked by the puja permeates the sanctum sanctorum and floods out to the world, Shaivites know they are in a most holy place where God and the gods commune with them. Within most Shiva temples are private rooms, sanctums, for Lord Ganesha and Lord Kartikaya, and shrines for the many gods and saints. The Vedas explain, even as the radiance of the sun enlightens all regions, above, below, and slantwise, so that only God, glorious and worthy of worship, rules over all his creation. Om Namah Shivaya. How are temples founded and built? Sloka 102. Shiva temples are founded by God himself, often designated in a vision or dream of a devout Shaivite, then erected by temple craftsmen, usually following agamic law. In such a holy place, holiness itself can reside. Om. Because of its holiness, a Shiva temple is most often and properly established by God Shiva through his devotees and not founded by men. Once the site is known, hereditary temple architects known as Sthapatis are commissioned to design and construct the temple. By tradition, every stone is set in place according to the sacred architecture found in the Agamic scriptures. When properly consecrated, the temple becomes a place upon the earth in which the three worlds can communicate for the upliftment of mankind and the fulfillment of Shiva's dharmic law. Shiva has deliberately established many temples to communicate his love to his children throughout the world, who live in every country of the world and long for their Lord's ever-present love. They build temples in his name and install his image, chant his praises, and thus invoke his presence. Lord Shiva accepts all these temples as his own and sends a divine ray to vivify and vitalize them. Shiva's Vedas enunciate. Brahman is the priest, Brahman the sacrifice. By Brahman the posts are erected. From Brahman the officiating priest was born. In Brahman is concealed the oblation. Om Namah Shivaya. When should one attend the temple? Sloka 103. We attend the temple to commune with God Shiva, Kartikaya, or Ganesha at least once each week, and additionally on auspicious days of the month, yearly festival days, and on the holiest day of the year, Mahashivaratri. Om. Bhashya. Shaivites consider it most important to live near a Shiva temple, and we build one wherever we find ourselves in the world. This is a most meritorious act, earning blessings in this life and the next. Religious life centers around the temple. It is here in God's home that we nurture our relationship with the divine. Not wanting to stay away too long, we visit the temple weekly, though women never go during their monthly period. We strive to attend each major festival when the Shakti of the deity is most powerful, and pilgrimage to a far-off temple annually. Devout Shiva Bhaktas attend daily puja in the temple. All Shaivites visit the temple on Shiva's most sacred day of the year, Mahashivaratri. Shaivite temples are the most ancient of all, being the homes of the gods and God. They are approached with great reverence and humility. Draw near the temple as you would approach a king, a governor, a president of a great realm, anticipating with a little trepidation your audience with him. The Vedas say, "May the Lord find pleasure in our song of praise. Priest among men, may he offer due homage to the heavenly beings. Great, O Lord, is your renown. Om Namah Shivaya." How does one attend a Shiva temple? Sloka 104. Approaching with deep reverence, we begin our worship with Ganesha, circumambulate the temple, and proceed to the main sanctum for puja. After receiving the sacraments, we sit quietly before taking our leave. Om. Bhashya, with offerings in hand, leaving our shoes outside, we enter through the Gopura or temple tower, wash hands, feet, and mouth, and seek blessings at Lord Ganesha's shrine. Next we follow the outer prakara or hallway clockwise around the Mahamandapa central chambers. Inside we leave our worldly thoughts at the Balipitha or offering place, then prostrate before the Dvajastamba temple flagpole and worship Nandi, the sacred bull. Next we circumambulate the central sanctum, Garbhagriha, usually 3 times, returning to its entrance for worship. During puja we stand with hands folded or in Anjali Mudra, though according to temple custom it may be proper to sit quietly or sing devotional hymns. After the arati or waving of the camphor light before the deity, we prostrate, Ashtanga Pranama for men and Panchanga Pranama for women, and rise to receive the prasada, accepting them in the right hand. We walk around the Garbhagriha one final time before taking our leave. The Vedas affirm if a man first takes firm hold on faith and then offers his sacrifice, then in that man's sacrifice both gods and men place confidence. Om Namah Shivaya. What occurs within the Shiva temple? Sloka 105. Activities within a Shiva temple vary from the daily round of pujas to the elaborate celebrations on annual festival days. Even amid large crowds, our worship is personal and individual, not congregational. Om Namah Shivaya. Bhashya. Besides the daily round of pujas, many other events take place within the temple: pilgrims offering vows, priests chanting the Vedas, processions, elephants giving blessings, garlands being woven, weddings or philosophical discourses in pillared halls, devotional singing, feedings for the impoverished, dance and cultural performances, ritual bath in the stone tank, meditation, religious instruction, and many festival-related events. Generally, there are 7 times when pujas are held: at 5, 6, and 9 in the morning, at noon, and at 6, 8, and 10 in the evening. The outer worship is approaching God properly, presenting ourselves acceptably. It is to offer our love, our adoration, and then to speak out our prayer, our petition. The inner worship is to enjoy God's presence and not rush away, to stay, to sit, to meditate a while, and bask in the Shakti, endeavoring to realize the self within. The Vedas say, "Come, come," these radiant offerings invite the worshipper, conveying him thither on the rays of the sun, addressing him pleasantly with words of praise. This world of Brahman is yours in its purity, gained by your good works. Om Namah Shivaya. Scriptures speak on Shiva temples. You who are worthy of men's prayers, our leader, our God, rich in heroes, may we install you glowing and glistening, shine forth at night and at morn. Your favor has kindled our hearts. By your favor we shall be great. Rig Veda. Of lords the Lord supreme, the King of kings, of gods the God. Him let us worship, transcendent, Lord of all worlds and wholly worthy of worship. Yajur Veda. A man comes to thee in fearful wonder and says, "Thou art God who never was born. Let thy face, Rudra, shine upon me, and let thy love be my eternal protection." Yajur Veda. For the purpose of protection of all, a linga is variously caused to be built in villages by gods, by seers, and by ordinary men. Karana Agama. Cutting all the stones to be cut, carving all the stones to be carved, boring all the stones to be bored, such are the 3 aspects of the Silpi's art. The architect and the Shutragarhin build the temples and craft the images, but it is with the Takshaka that the architect effects the opening of the eyes of these images and similar rites. Suprabeda Agama. Having worshipped Nandi in the southeast, 2-eyed, 2-armed, black in color, having the formidable 3-pointed trident of Shiva, with a crest and twisted locks of hair, in the southwest, he should especially worship Mahakala, black in color, 2-eyed, 2-armed, with white garment, 2-legged, having an awesome form, equipped with a noose and a tusk, and endowed with all ornaments. Karana Agama. He should repeat the Shiva mantra according to his ability, and there should be circumambulation, obedience, and surrender of the self. Kirana Agama. I bow before that Sadashiva Linga which is worshipped by the multitude of gods with genuine thoughts, full of faith and devotion, and whose splendor is like that of 1,000,000 suns. Lingashtakam. The Pati is the blessed Shiva Linga, the Pasu is the mighty bull standing in front, the Pasha is the altar. This, in the temple, the Lord stands for those who searching see. Tirumantaram. When in Shiva's temple worship ceases, harm befalls the ruler, scanty are the rains, theft and robbery abound in the land. Thus did my holy Nandinatha declare. Tirumantaram. Of what use is the body that never walked around the temple of Shiva offering him flowers in the worship rite? Of what use is this body? Tirumurai. The unholy town where no temple stands, the town where men do not wear the holy ash, the town which does not resound with sacred song, the town which is not resplendent with many shrines, the town where the white conch is not reverently blown, the town where festive canopies and white flags are not seen, the town where devotees do not gather flowers for the worship rite. That town is no town, it is a mere wilderness. Tirumurai. He approached and entered the temple where the Lord who has the golden mountain for his abode dwells in delight. He circumambulated it, prostrated himself at the sacred courtyard, entered the presence of the three-eyed god, the bull rider crowned with matted red hair. Puja Mandala, temple rites. Kalasha, a husked coconut circled by 5 mango leaves on a pot, is used in puja to represent any god, especially Lord Ganesha. Breaking a coconut before his shrine is the ego's shattering to reveal the sweet fruit inside. Om. What is the inner importance of puja? Sloka 106. The traditional rite of worship called puja is a sanctified act of the highest importance for the Hindu. It is the invoking of God Shiva and the gods and the heartfelt expression of our love, devotion, and surrender. Om. Bhashya. Puja is a ceremony in which the ringing of bells, passing of flames, presenting of offerings, and chanting invoke the Devas and Mahadevas, who then come to bless and help us. Puja is our holy communion, full of wonder and tender affections. It is that part of our day which we share most closely and consciously with our beloved deity, and thus it is for Shaivites the axis of religious life. Our worship through puja, outlined in the Shaiva Agamas, may be expression of festive celebration of important events in life, of adoration and thanksgiving, penance and confession, prayerful supplication and requests, or contemplation at the deepest levels of superconsciousness. Puja may be conducted on highly auspicious days in a most elaborate, orthodox, and strict manner by the temple pujaris, or it may be offered in the simplest form each morning and evening in the home shrine by any devotee. The Vedas proclaim, sacrifice resembles a loom with threads extended this way and that, composed of innumerable rituals. Behold how the fathers weaving the fabric, seated on the outstretched loom. Lengthwise, crosswise, they cry, Om Namah Shivaya. What is the special rite called Archana? Sloka 107. Archana is an abbreviated form of temple puja in which the name, birth star, and spiritual lineage of a devotee are intoned to the god by the priest to invoke special individual, family, or group blessings and assistance. Om. Bhashya. If we wish to receive the deity's blessing for something special that is happening in our life, we may request an archana. This is arranged and paid for within the temple itself. We give a basket or tray to the priest or pujari, upon which have been placed certain articles to be offered to the deity, usually a flower garland, bananas and a coconut, carefully washed and not even breathed upon, holy ash, incense, camphor, rosewater, and a contribution for the pujari. The pujari asks for our name, which we tell him aloud, and our nakshatra or birth star. Then he asks for our gotra, the name of the rishi with which our family is associated. He then intones these, our credentials, before the deity, along with a Sanskrit verse. A brief puja, in which the 108 names of the god are chanted, is then performed specifically on our behalf and special blessings received. At the end, the pujari will return most of the offerings as prasada. The Vedas implore, by your favors granted, enable us, O Lord, once again to leap over the pitfalls that face us. Be a high tower, powerful and broad, for both us and our children. To our people bring well-being and peace. Om Namah Shivaya. What is the nature of image worship? Sloka 108. We worship God Shiva and the gods who by their infinite powers spiritually hover over and indwell the image, or murti, which we revere as their temporary body. We commune with them through the ritual act of puja. Om. Bhashya. The stone or metal deity images are not mere symbols of the gods. They are the form through which their love, power, and blessings flood forth into this world. We may liken this mystery to our ability to communicate with others through the telephone. We do not talk to the telephone, rather we use a telephone as a means of communication with another person who is perhaps thousands of miles away. Without the telephone we could not converse across such distances, and without the sanctified murti in the temple or shrine, we cannot easily commune with the deity. His vibration and presence can be felt in the image, and he can use the image as a temporary physical plane body or channel. As we progress in our worship, we begin to adore the image as the deity's physical body, for we know that he is actually present and conscious in it during puja, aware of our thoughts and feelings, and even sensing the pujari's gentle touch on the metal or stone. The Vedas exclaim, "Come down to us, Rudra, who art in the high mountains. Come and let the light of thy face, free from fear and evil, shine upon us. Come to us with thy love. Om Namah Shivaya." Who are the priests of Shiva temples? Sloka 109. Adishaiva priests are the hereditary pujaris who care for the temples and conduct its varied rites and rituals as humble servants of God. They are trained in the complex arts of worship, generally from a young age. Om. Bacha. Every temple has its own staff of priests. Some temples appoint only one, while others have a large extended family of priests who take care of the many shrines and elaborate festivals. Most are well trained from early childhood in the intricate liturgy. Shiva temple pujaris are usually Brahmins from the Adishaiva lineage, though in certain temples they are not. These men of God must be fully knowledgeable of the metaphysical and ontological tenets of the religion and learn hundreds of mantras and chants required in the ritual worship. When fully trained, they are duly ordained as Shivacharyas to perform Padartha Puja in a consecrated Shiva temple. Generally, pujaris do not attend to the personal problems of devotees. They are God's servants, tending his temple home and its related duties, never standing between the devotee and God. Officiating priests are almost always married men, while their assistants may be brahmacharis or widowers. The Agamas explain, only a well-qualified priest may perform both Atmartha Puja, worship for one's self, and Parartha Puja, worship for others. Such an Adishaiva is a Shaiva Brahmin and a teacher. Om Namah Shivaya. What does the pujari do during puja? Sloka 110. During the puja, through mantras, mudras, and mystical ritual, the priest invokes the deity. All observances are precisely detailed in the Agamas. Every act, every intoned syllable is rich in esoteric meaning. Om Namah Shivaya. Bhashya. The pujari performs strict ablutions and disciplines to prepare himself for his sacred duty. Before the puja, he ritually purifies the atmosphere. As the puja begins, he meditates on Lord Ganesha, praying that all obstacles may be removed. He then beseeches the god to indwell the image, to accept the prayers of the votaries, and to shower blessings and love on all. Calling the name of the deity and chanting mantras and hymns from the Vedas and Agamas, the pujari makes offerings of unbroken rice, burning camphor, incense, holy ash, water, red turmeric powder, flowers, and food. Sometimes offerings of milk, rosewater, sandalwood paste, and yogurt are poured over the murti as an oblation, called bells are loudly rung, conch shells sounded, and musicians may play the temple drums and woodwinds. The pujari treats the deity with utmost care, attending to him as the King of Kings. When the puja has ended, the pujari passes the now sanctified offerings to those present. The Vedas state, daily the sacrifice is spread, daily the sacrifice is completed, daily it unites the worshipper to heaven, daily by sacrifice to heaven he ascends. Om Namah Shivaya. Scriptures speak on temple rites. The devout performers of solemn ceremonies aspiring for chariots, as if, are led to the doors of the chamber of the Lord. Ladles placed to the east are plying the fire with melted butter at the fire sacrifice as the mother cow licks her calf. Rig Veda. As hungry children here below sit round about their mother, even so all beings expectantly sit round the Agnihotra. Samaveda. May the forefathers of ancient days protect me in this my prayer, in this my act, in this my priestly duty, in this my performance, in this my thought, in this my purpose and desire, in this my calling on the gods. All hail. Atharva Veda. A linga sprung up by itself and an image in the shape of a god are said to be intended for worship for the purpose of others. The merit to the worshipper of worship for all others is the same as the merit of worship for oneself. Karana Agama. Offerings of perfumed substances, flowers, incense, lamps, and fresh fruits. These are the 5 elements of the traditional puja, which culminates with the offerings of the lamps. Kamika Agama. The worship rites from the very beginning, worship of the linga and its support, must be done by an Adishaiva in the manner described in the Agamas. Karana Agama. As fire in a basin flames by means of fire, thus Lord Shiva is born, is made manifest before the eyes of the devotee by mantra in the linga. Karana Agama. The twice-born Gurukul should twice place the triple sectarian marks of ash mixed with water, having scattered all sins by his twofold protection of his body. The Gurukul should now be competent to perform all the sacrificial rites. Karana Agama. In the beginning of worship, at the conclusion of the rite, in the offering of water, in the anointing of the image, in the bathing of the image, in the offering of light, in the sprinkling of the image with sandal, in the bathing of the image with consecrated liquids, in the offering of incense in the act of worship, and in all other things to be done, the Shivacharya should strike the great bell, Karana Agama. He should bathe the linga, repeating the Vyome Vyapi mantra, and with sesame oil, and with curd, milk, and ghee, with coconut water, with honey, repeating the Panchabrahman. He should carefully rub the linga with fine rice flour paste, repeating the Hridaya mantra, Karana Agama. First there is the invocation, second the establishing of the god, third water for washing the feet should be offered, fourth water for sipping, fifth the placing of arghya water, sixth sprinkling water as ablution, seventh garment and sandal, eighth worship with flowers, ninth incense and light should be offered, 10th offering of food, 11th oblation should be performed, 12th the holy fire, an oblation of clarified butter, 13th an oblation, 14th song and music, 15th dancing, and 16th the act of leaving. Karana Agama. Seers can reach him because he is visible. Worshippers too can see him, but if they possess love for him, Hara, who is the first cause of the ancient universe, will manifest himself to their mind as light. Tirumurai. Bhakti Mandala, love of God. Kutuvilaku, the standing oil lamp, symbolizes the dispelling of ignorance and awakening of the divine light within us. Its soft glow illumines the temple or shrine room, keeping the atmosphere pure and serene. Om. Is temple worship only for beginners? Sloka 111. Temple worship is for all men and women at every level of spiritual development. Its meaning and experience deepen as we unfold spiritually through the stages of service, devotion, yoga, and enlightened wisdom. Om. Bhashya. We never outgrow temple worship. It simply becomes more profound and meaningful as we progress through 4 spiritual levels. In the Charyapada, the stage of selfless service, we attend the temple because we have to, because it is expected of us. In the Kriyapada, the stage of worshipful sadhanas, we attend because we want to. Our love of God is the motivation. In the Yogapada, we worship God internally in the sanctum of the heart, yet even the yogi immersed in the superconscious depths of mind has not outgrown the temple. It is there, God's home on the earth plane, when the yogi returns to normal consciousness. So perfect is the temple worship of those who have traversed the Jnanapada that they themselves become worship's object. Living, moving temples. Yea, temple worship is never outgrown. The Vedas give praise, homage to him who presides over all things, that which was and that which shall be, to whom alone belongs the heaven. To that all-powerful Brahman be homage. From fullness he pours forth the full spreads, merging with the full. We eagerly would know from whence he thus replenishes himself. Om Namah Shivaya. How do devotees prepare for worship? Sloka 112. We visit a Shiva temple after bathing, dressing in clean clothes, and preparing an offering, which can be as simple as a few flowers or fruits. We bring the mind to the holy feet of the deity even as preparations begin. Om. Bhashya. Visiting the home of god Shiva or of a god, the temple is not without its trepidation, protocol, and proper conduct, preceded by preparation that we administrate ourselves. Our worship is only as meaningful and effective as we make it. Before we attend or conduct a puja, we should carefully bathe the body, rinse the mouth, and dress in fresh clothing, saris for women, and dhotis or vestis and shawls for men, where this is the custom. Throughout these preparations we may sing hymns or chant mantras or God's holy name silently or aloud. Taking care to keep the mind free from worldly matters, we then gather offerings for the deity. If mealtime is near, we eat only after puja has been concluded. Although the outer details of our worship are important, it is our inner feelings and thoughts, our love and devotion, which are the truest offering we can make. The Vedas testify, the gods, led by the Spirit, honor faith in their worship. Faith is composed of the heart's intention. Light comes through faith. Through faith men come to prayer, faith in the morning, faith at noon, and at the setting of the sun. O faith, give us faith. Om Namah Shivaya. How do our prayers reach the gods? Sloka 113. Through temple worship and three worlds become open to one another. Through temple worship, the three worlds become open to one another, and the beings within them are able to communicate. By means of the mystical arts of puja, the worlds act in concert and prayers are received. Om. Bhashya. The three worlds are connected when puja is performed and worship is begun. There are certain rites that can be performed to enable individuals to communicate directly with beings in the inner worlds. Prayers are given and received in many ways. Among the most intimate, personal forms of communication is the written prayer to the devas or to God. Burned in Agni's sacred fire, it disintegrates in the physical world and quickly reforms in the astral world. When a prayer is burned in a temple wherein this practice is consecrated, its astral image is received and read by the devas, and properly dispatched and answered within the confines of our karmic pattern. Prayers may also be conveyed by slowly mentally enunciating the words, visualizing them rising up the spine, through the top of the head, reaching beyond to the feet of God. The devas will not intervene unless asked. This is the inner law. The Vedas avow, he shines forth at dawn like the sunlight, deploying the sacrifice in the manner of priests, unfolding their prayerful thoughts. Agni, the god who knows well all the generations, visits the gods as a messenger most efficacious. Om Namah Shivaya. Do Shaivites worship only in temples? Sloka 114. One can worship God anywhere and be in contact with the inner worlds, in the temple, in the home shrine, and in the yogi's contemplation. However, in the holy Shiva temple, the three worlds most perfectly commune. Om. Bhashya. In the shrine room gather messengers of the Mahadeva being worshipped to hear the prayers of the devotee and carry them to their master. The gods can be worshipped anywhere when the proper Sankalpa preparation has been performed. God's presence is everywhere, through everything, in everything, for Shiva is the creator of all things, the manifester of time, form, and the space between forms. Shiva is worshipped in the mind, in the heart, through the throat, in the head of the yogi, locked in yoga. So great is the power of worship, communion, and communication with the centillion devas, that when a little bell is rung, a flame appears in the lamp, the vermilion spot is placed, the flower appears and is offered, God Shiva and the gods are invoked. Contemplating the aftermath of puja and abhisheka, we feel the sanidhya or divine presence of Parashakti, tender motherly love, permeating to the outer walls around the temple. The Vedas proclaim, assemble all with prayer to the Lord of heaven. He is the one, the all-pervading, the guest of men. He, the Ancient of Days, abides in the present. Him, the one, the many follow on their path. Om Namah Shivaya. What is the home shrine significance? Sloka 115. Every Shaivite maintains a home shrine. It is the most beautiful room in the house, an extension of the temple, the abode for deities and devas, and a holy refuge for daily worship and meditation. Om Namah Shivaya. Bhashya. Every Shivite home centers around the home shrine, a special room set aside and maintained to create a temple-like atmosphere in which we conduct puja, read scripture, perform sadhana, meditate, sing bhajana, and do japa. Here the presence of the gods is always felt, and we remember them especially morning and evening and before meals, which we offer to them before we partake. Worship traditionally begins before dawn, with the simple act of dedication for the coming day. After a bath, morning puja is performed, which includes the repetition of the Gayatri or other mantras, and is followed by sadhanas given by one's guru. The form of home worship at Martha Puja is simple. The deities are invoked and offerings are made. After the final arati or offering of the light, we supplicate them to bestow their grace on us, our family, and all devotees. Evening devotionals include a simple arati bhajana meditation and reading of scripture, which carries one to lofty celestial realms during sleep. The Agamas affirm worship of one's chosen linga by anyone in their own home for divine protection is called Atmartha Puja, Om Namah Shivaya. Scriptures speak on love of God. Yes, may the man who within his home pleases you all his days with songs and with offerings receive a rich reward, be loaded with your gifts, to him be happiness. This is our prayer, Rig Veda. Om, O terrestrial sphere, O sphere of space, O celestial sphere, let us contemplate the splendor of the solar spirit, the divine creator, may he guide our minds. Rig Veda, Gayatri Mantra. For you is my offering, to you I will pray, to you who are worthy of homage and worship. You, O God, are a spring in the desert for the man who is thirsty for you, O ever-living. Rig Veda. All that God does shall win our praise. We magnify his name with hymns, seeking boons from the mighty. Rig Veda. The rites of oblation, O lovers of truth, which the sages divined from the sacred verses, were variously expounded in the threefold Veda. Perform them with constant care. This is your path to the world of holy action, Atharva Veda. Whatever the merit in any sacrifice, austerity, offering, pilgrimage, or place, the merit of worship of the Shiva Linga equals the merit multiplied by hundreds of thousands. Karana Agama. In the forenoon with a white garment, in midday with a red garment, with a yellow garment in the evening, and with any of them in the night, the worshipper drawing the god near with this Sadyajata mantra should cause him to be firmly established by means of the Vama mantra and the Agora mantra, Karana Agama. First, there should be purification of oneself. Secondly, purification of the site. Thirdly, there should be cleansing of the worship materials. Fourthly, purification of the linga. Fifthly, purification of the mantras should be done. Thus, there is the fivefold purification. Karana Agama. Even the incompetent indeed should worship, ending with the offering of sacrificial food, ending with light. He who daily does this shall obtain progress toward the auspicious. Karana Agama. There is no difference between devotion and perfect knowledge. A person who is engrossed in devotion enjoys perpetual happiness, and perfect knowledge never descends in a vicious person averse to devotion. Shiva Purana. They labor hard and gather flowers and carry water pure. They adore the Lord in unfailing piety, and at his shining feet lay flowers and stand and pray, and unto the rain-laden clouds forever prosperous shall they be. Tirumantiram. He folds his hands in adoration and praised the Lord's feet. His deep love melted in a stream. The flood from his eyes gushed out and spread over his body. Periyapuranam. What has learning profited a man if it has not led him to worship the good feet of him who has pure knowledge itself? They alone dispel the mind's distress who take refuge at the feet of the incomparable one. Tirukural. It is devotion to God, Shiva Bhakti alone, that makes a man blessed. Everything else is useless. Therefore, without break, practice Shiva Dhyana. Do not be afraid of anything. Victory will be yours. Nachitanai. Shastra Upanishad, Sacred Scripture. Vairagya Mandala, Monastic Life. Kamandalu, the water vessel, is carried by the Hindu monastic. It symbolizes his simple, self-contained life, his freedom from worldly needs, his constant sadhana and tapas, and his oath to seek God everywhere. Om. What is the Hindu monastic tradition? Sloka 116. In the Hindu tradition there have always existed among men a few for whom the world held no attraction and karmas were on the wane. Some are solitary mendicants, others reside with their brothers in monasteries. Om. Bhashya. Certain men are by nature inclined toward realization of the self and disinclined towards desires of family, wealth, and property. Some among them are sadhus dressed in white. They are anchorites living in the seclusion of distant caves in remote forests or wandering as homeless mendicants, itinerant pilgrims to the holy sanctuaries of Hinduism. Others dwell as cenobites assembled with fellow monastics, often in the ashrama, adinam, or matha of their Satguru. These monks, both anchorite and cenobite, may live with no formal vows or take certain simple vows. When initiated into the order of sannyasa, they don the saffron robes and bind themselves to a universal body of Hindu renunciates whose existence has never ceased. Scriptural doctrine states that the two paths, householder and renunciate, are distinct in their dharmas and attainments, affirming that true renunciation may not be achieved by those in the world, even by virtue of a genuine attitude of detachment. The holy Vedas declare, the man who has found him becomes a silent monk. Desiring him alone as their world, ascetics have their homes and wander about. Om Namah Shivaya. What are the goals of renunciate life? Sloka 117. The two fundamental objectives of sannyasa are to promote the spiritual progress of the individual, bringing him into God realization, and to protect and perpetuate the religion through his illumined leadership. Om. Bhashya. Renunciation and asceticism have been an integral component of Vedic culture from the earliest days, the most highly esteemed path of the Hindu Dharma. Monastic life has both an individual and a universal objective. At the individual level, it is a life of selflessness in which the monastic has made the supreme sacrifice of renouncing all personal ambition, all involvement in worldly matters, that he might direct his consciousness and energies fully toward God Shiva. Guided by the Satguru along the sadhana marga, the initiated sannyasin unfolds through the years into deeper and deeper realizations. Ultimately, if he persists, he comes into direct knowing of Parashiva, transcendent reality. At the universal level, Hindu monasticism fosters the religion by preserving the truths of the Sanatana Dharma. Competent swamis are the teachers, the theologians, the exemplars of their faith, the torchbearers lighting the way for all. The ancient Vedas elucidate, the ascetic who wears discolored robes, whose head is shaved, who does not possess anything, who is pure and free from hatred, who lives on alms, he becomes absorbed in Brahman. Om Namah Shivaya. What is the sannyasin's kundalini path? Sloka 118. The sannyasin balances within himself both the male and female energies. Complete unto himself, he is whole and independent. Having attained an equilibrium of Ida and Pingala, he becomes a knower of the known. Om. Bhashya. There arises within the sannyasin a pure energy, neither masculine nor feminine. This is the Sushumna current, coming into power through which he gains control of the Kundalini force, and eventually, after years of careful guidance, attains Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Eventually, in one life or another, all will turn to the renunciate path. However, it would be equally improper for a renunciate-minded soul to enter family life as for a householder to seek to be a sannyasin. A word of warning: be cautious of those who promise great Kundalini awakenings and spiritual rewards from severe practices without preparation, initiation, and renunciation. Those entering the serious life of sannyasa must be prepared to follow the traditional path of unrewarded sadhana through the years, apart from dear family and friends. Such is the way to reach the truth of yoga. It takes many, many years for the soul to thus ripen and mature. The Tirumantaram affirms, many are the births and deaths forgotten by souls shrouded in ignorance, enveloped in Mala's darkness. At the moment great Shiva's grace is gained, the renunciate attains the splendorous light. Om Namah Shivaya. What is the sannyasin's initiation rite? Sloka 119. Young unmarried men of the Hindu religion may qualify for renunciation, called sannyasa diksha, which may be conferred by any legitimate sannyasin, but the most spiritually potent initiation comes from a Satguru, Om. Bhashya. Traditionally, sannyasa diksha is restricted to unmarried men, though some modern orders have accepted qualified women. As a rule in most orders, if a candidate enters monastic training before age 25 and meets other qualifications, he may generally, after a minimum of 12 years of preparation and training, take the sannyasin's lifetime vows, called holy orders of sannyasa. Only a sannyasin can bring another into the ancient order of sannyasa. However, since the purpose is God realization, most candidates seek initiation from a spiritually advanced knower of God, who can bring them into Parashiva. Sannyasa Diksha is given in simple or most formal ways. The formal rites include the shaving of the head, conveyance of certain esoteric teachings, abjuration of the worldly life and dharma, administration of monastic vows, conducting of the novitiate's funeral rites, and the giving of the kavi vestments. The Vedas proclaim the self within the body, pure and resplendent, is attained through the cultivation of truth, austerity, right knowledge, and chastity. When their impurities dwindle, the ascetics behold him. Om Namah Shivaya. What are the holy orders of sannyasa? Sloka 120. The holy orders of sannyasa are lifetime vows of poverty, obedience, and chastity, never to be relinquished or rescinded. The sannyasins are the religious leaders, the bedrock of the Sanatana Dharma. Om Namah Shivaya. Bhasya. The sannyasin's first sacred vow is renunciation, the surrendering of the limited identity of the ego that the soul may soar to the depths of impersonal being. It is a repudiation of worldly dharma and involvement, and thus includes poverty and simplicity. The sannyasin owns nothing, not even the robes he is given to wear. The second vow is obedience, a pledge to follow the traditional ways of the sannyasa dharma and the specific directions of his Satguru. It embraces obedience to his own conscience, to scripture, to God and the gods, and to his illustrious Guru Parampara. The third vow is purity, a pledge to remain pure in thought, word, and deed, to be continent throughout life, to protect the mind from all lower instincts, deceit, hatred, fear, jealousy, anger, pride, lust, covetousness, and so forth. It includes the observance of ahimsa, non-injuriousness, and adherence to a vegetarian diet. Some orders also give vows of humility and confidentiality. The Vedas elucidate, henceforth being pure, clean, void, tranquil, breathless, selfless, endless, undecaying, steadfast, eternal, unborn, independent. He abides in his own greatness. Om Namah Shivaya. Scriptures speak on monastic life. Girded by the wind, they have donned ochre mud for a garment. So soon as the gods have entered within them, they follow the wings of the wind, these silent ascetics. Rig Veda. Let him approach with humility a guru who is learned in the scriptures and established in Brahman. To such a seeker, whose mind is tranquil and senses controlled, and who has approached him in the proper manner, let the learned guru impart the science of Brahman, through which the true imperishable being is realized. Atharva Veda. Within him is fire, within him is drink, within him both earth and heaven. He is the sun which views the whole world. He is indeed light itself, the long-haired ascetic. Rig Veda. Having transcended the desire for sons, the desire for wealth, the desire for worlds, they go about as mendicants. For the desire for sons is the desire for wealth, and the desire for wealth is the desire for worlds. All these are nothing but desires. He, the Atman, is not this, not this. Yajurveda. Having realized with mind and heart, having become wise, you will no longer move on the path of death. Therefore they call renunciation the ardor surpassing all others. Yajurveda. What people call salvation is really continence, for through continence man is freed from ignorance, and what is known as the vow of silence, that too is really continence, for a man through continence realizes the self and lives in quiet contemplation. Yajurveda. Know, Arjuna, that what men call renunciation is the authentic yoga, for without renouncing all desire no man becomes a yogin. The silent sage climbing toward yoga uses work as a means. Quiescence and serenity are the proper course for one who has attained. Bhagavad Gita. In the one who has conquered his self and is peaceful, the supreme self in heat or cold, joy or pain, honor or disgrace, abides in serenity. He who is full of wisdom and understanding, calm and controlled, to whom a clod, a stone, and gold are the same, is in truth a yogin. Bhagavad Gita. A myriad times are they born and die, in a million follies they forget this, and in the darkness of Mala are enveloped. When at last the hidden grace of Shiva bursts forth and chases the night away, then is the moment for the soul to renounce. When it does, a radiant light it becomes. Tiramantaram. Hail, O Sannyasin, who knows no guile, establish in your heart and worship there that taintless one, Panchakshara's inmost core, whom neither Vishnu nor Brahma had power to comprehend. You, who regards all others as yourself, who in this world can be compared with you, the powerful karma your past deeds have wrought will vanish without trace. Daily on the thought, is not this Jiva Shiva, you must meditate, Nachitanai. On those who wholeheartedly surrender their possessions, souls, and bodies, Nataraja, the gracious giver, will at once bestow his golden lotus feet. That is the truth, Nachintanai. The scriptures exalt above every other good the greatness of virtuous renunciates. Those who renounce totally reach the highest peak. The rest remain enamored in delusion's net. Tirukural. Jnani Mandala, knowers of God. Sri Paduka, the sacred sandals worn by saints, sages, and Satgurus, symbolize the preceptor's holy feet, which are the source of his grace. Prostrating before him, we humbly touch his feet for release from worldliness. Om.